Okay there, that looks like we're up and running. So there's a pretty good delay. Not much I can do about that. My phone just scared me. I don't need volume. Okay. So today all I'm doing is working on some art fight pieces. This first character, I wanted to do something fun with posing, kind of set everything up. So this character is named Kayla. Out of all the ones I had saved, this one has the least amount of references on it, but I'm actually really excited to do some of these. I really like saving Spider-Sona interactions. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And art fight's a great chance for me to experiment and try drawing things I normally wouldn't. I really liked the shape of the lashes on this character, so I'm trying my best to keep that as consistent as possible. I think that the eye shape can be a great indicator of some of the character. I feel like this eye is a little too wide. Nope. Where's the other? Hello, my love. My goal is just to get some drawing done. I checked how many characters I have saved so far, and I have like 20 something characters that I was looking at. Last year I totaled about 30 characters, so I don't want to necessarily burn myself out. But lots to do. Also, the website went down like immediately after Art Fight started, like it always does. So it is a good thing I saved my references beforehand. I really like doing the movement though. Doing something with perspective, so kind of at a fun angle where it's looking from a top view and then having the wind come in. I did not like the shape of that curl. Okay, that's better. One thing I do need to make sure I do on this character is this side's a little flat on the cheek, and the character has a curved round face shape in my image, so I need to just kind of taper this out to fix that. Though I keep forgetting I have curls. Probably start doing some curls. Make my life a little easier. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to check back at my reference. Alright. Trying to make sure that it reads as the same character. Otherwise, it's not really drawing character. The nice thing about curls is that they can be a little chaotic. That's why I draw them so much. As long as you kinda show some basic form to it, it still comes off as curls, which is 10 out of 10. Something else with this ooh, what did I do there? Okay, that should just be its own curl. I will solidate that curl. That did not look good. What was I saying? Oh yeah, something that I need to keep in mind while drawing this is the direction of the wind. Since the hair is blowing that way, areas over here might be a little more taut, though I should add some more curve to that line. Even just a little bit like that. But because the wind is blowing, I need the hair to go the same direction as everything else, like the clothing. And that is a very fun balance. There we go, that looks great. Okay. Let's add some more curl here. And it keeps a nice little consistency of detail. There. So right here is where it gets a little more complicated. She has like, I missed this at the beginning of my sketch. I actually had to erase a lot of the hair for this. It has like this bandana wrapped around her hair in the back, and it's really hard to see in the references. So I need to make sure I don't forget stuff like that. Because that might be bad. Just that a little. Keeping a general shape lets the girl seem more like free loose. The main thing I care about is this outer silhouette here. So without the silhouette, you're not going to be able to tell the character or the shape. I like that. That has good movement. Okay, over here is going to be a little more tricky. Let's see. Mostly on my references, it just kind of covers your face a little bit. I want to focus more on like the wind billowing on the other side to clear up her face. So I'm just going to focus on that, and then okay, good. I already separated layers. It's gonna be like, ah. This curl, which is fabulous and very flowy, going to keep changing because I am an idiot. I am accidentally chicken scratching, and I don't really care. I feel like that kind of looks good. I really like doing these eye folds. This character doesn't really have a lot of detail on the face, so I think it needs something that draws your eye a little more. I'm kind of inspired a little bit right now by the Demon Slayer manga. I found it online last night, actually, by accident. I was just watching TikTok and was curious, so I did a little search to see if they had a free version of the manga online, because I've been meaning to go and look at that and try to read it. My thought was I'd have to order physical copies, but to my surprise, they actually have it up on a website for free. So all I have to do is just read it there, and I can look at the manga and then go back and watch the anime and catch up. But I really like some of the lines and like movement. It's not totally clean, even though it has a very organized art style, which is nice. But it still like has more movement than I've seen in some other comic styles. So I just kind of want to capture some of that because it's pretty. I like the art style. One thing I do not like though is that I made this curl in this sketch like super long, so I'm just going to kind of shorten that like that and give it some more layer. And then now that I've put there, the curl there, I can go through and make the face shape much better. There we go. Look at those little puffy cheeks. Okay, I can merge these down. One other thing while I'm at it is I just kind of want to clear that hair right there so it gives a little bit more 3D depth, showing where the ear. Ooh, what is going on with that ear shape? I'm so used to doing elf ears. I need to practice human ears more. I don't like having converging lines. That is one thing I try to avoid. Look at that! Okay, so I want to add some more detail just kind of over here so it feels like it's less flat. Over here has a lot of converging lines that are the same, so I want to kind of puff this out again and then do the same over here. So this time it's going to go downward because I can. And having these little overlaps right there makes it so much better. Speaking about overlap, there we go. I am really happy with the hair. It looks like it has consistent volume. That's something that I was struggling with in that sketch. So the hair kind of goes all the way here and then like really far down out of nowhere. But now that it's a little more consistent, I can move on to the body. I don't know why that line is so dark. I do not care what you have to say, Webtoon. I am not going to read you right now. Okay, so I have the neck actually go really low. That is in the wrong spot. That should be there. Okay. And so this covers up a good section of the neck. I just want to make sure that I'm not overlapping this too much. So I want to curve you up. And since the curl is there, I don't need to worry about that curl anymore. There we go. That actually looks really good. Okay, double checking to see if I missed any necklace. No necklace. Okay, good. The clavicle right here on the original drawing has a detail I really like doing, which is this little shadow thing. It's the same kind of thing I do for focusing like the highlight or shadow on the nose. But the little bump just gives a little bit more depth to the drawing. Yeah. And I haven't decided which way the light goes. Since focal point's up this way, that's where the eye is looking, and that's where I kind of have everything moving. I think this might be more of the focal point. And I might need to move some of the dandelion seeds a little higher up. But that's not too big of a deal. I really like the knot shape they had on this piece of clothing. I hadn't thought of doing it in triangles like this before, so I'm going to try to convey the knot through triangles, though I am not super happy with that bunching right there. That feels much better. And then I want to kind of consolidate this billowiness a little bit more. My goal with Art Fight, as always, is to use it as a way to practice things that I don't normally draw or I struggle drawing. It's a great way to practice in an environment where I know that there will be more character designs and artwork, and if I really need it, then somebody or even the original creator of the OCs could let me know, like if I missed anything, and I can incorporate that in my art in the future. So it's really nice having a dedicated space and time where I can just practice, and this lets me do posing and characters, like I said, that I wouldn't normally draw. This character in particular, I don't really have a lot of heterochromia in any characters, despite having heterochromia of the Scout myself. I just kind of think it's a little overdone sometimes. It's a cool feature, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people tend to draw it because it's something that's a little more exotic, like how there's so many white-haired characters because it's unnatural, even though I like white-haired characters. So I tend to try and avoid doing things that are like overdone or something that is always drawn. I want to do something a little more unique with my OCs, which sometimes just means that they're like the average day, everyday Joe. I'm good with that. It's my Nim. Nim is very basic, but his personality that I've written out for my story really has him shine through. I'd rather their personality than their character design, especially when it comes to writing forms. You could have a very basic character who isn't very creative in physical appearance be one of the best characters in writing. This character has a lot of loose fabric, so I don't really need to focus on the anatomy as much, though I do want to make sure that the anatomy doesn't look off. So that's focusing on like the movement of the shoulders here, how I have this arm going up. I may need to adjust this a little further down so the arm's like here rather than going off this way, because you can't see the elbow. But other than that, you know, drawing characters like this is very fun. It's really rewarding seeing the amount of creativity that comes out of Art Fight between not just myself, but other artists. Seeing the immense amount of styles, being able to incorporate things that I like from designs into even my own design, and practice being a character artist. You know, working as a commission artist or in a studio, it means that you don't always get a lot of choice on what you're going to draw or who the character is, and it's very important in those environments, especially to make sure that you have a lot of practice. Otherwise, you could end up falling behind on your art. Practicing is super important. So kind of separating out the two different sections here between the top and then the loose fabric, I made the lines darker. That way, without the sketch, you can still tell that there's a difference in fabric. Line weight's a really good way to play with that. Before I forget, I'm just going to return to the top section here and just draw in that little bit of scarf that pokes out at the top. Like that right there, that I missed on my first sketch. I had to erase a whole bunch of hair because of that. I don't like the tape of that. I like the idea of the corner piece here, but morphing it to kind of fit like the head after that is difficult. Sometimes things that work out on a sketch don't always transfer well to the liner, and it's difficult to figure out what the cause is sometimes. But I think that captured the actual like energy and shape I was focusing on. So over here, I decided to make the top show out a bit more because I think layer-wise, this coat would fall like on the side of the body at this angle rather than being head-on over it. And that's just a preference choice on layering. It could absolutely be the other way around. I don't know. But the coat is like really long, so. I like how it just kind of billows out on the side. I've had my coats, like my longer coats, if I ever wear one, sway out like that. I think it makes for like a really good silhouette. The main goal of silhouettes with these characters is to make sure that the pose and what's going on is super readable. So, for example, here I am going to darken the edge of the fabric and kind of erase some of that chicken scratch line there, just so I can make sure that the rest of the sleeve gets drawn in well. And then here at the bottom, I'm even going to curve this, not that far up, but here, a little further up, just so I can make sure that the sleeve has an ending. This will be a little easier to read once it's colored, but for now, until I get to that coloring stage, I'm going to make sure and darken some line weights, creating a deeper edge, just to show a little more that it's separated. And that's going to include over here. And I'm going to make that a little more bumpy, subtly. And then that's going to include this side of it. And I can even use the darker line weight to clean up the sides. Which gives me that lovely shape right there. Still readable. Good. So, let's see. Here? No, lower down. Oh, wait. I forgot the other half of this. Okay, So I'm just going to do the other half of this coat here before I move on to the top, because I didn't remember that the reason why I was waiting on this was because the rest of the coat glows. Okay, so here. Okay, and so since that is done, I'm going to draw in the label. Double check my reference, which is all covered. And then I'm going to just draw in the rest of this body here, which doesn't have to be super detailed since there isn't any lower body that's really drawn out. It's just a half body, which makes my job a little difficult, besides the fact that I decided to do full perspective like an idiot. It's fine. We're good. Something else I'm going to do is I really like hatching out these areas that are darker, so when I do base color, it's easier to read, and it comes off as just kind of like a darker space here. And when I do the base color under it, of course, then it automatically darkens that base color. So I don't have to do as much shading and lighting effects, which is really nice. And then I want to curve that so it fits around the neck and it's not just flat. Okay. Hello, welcome to chat if you're new here, by the way. I just saw the number jumped up a little bit. So this character is named Kayla. This is not my character. This is my first attack I am drawing. This character has mostly a half body, so it's a little difficult to figure out where clothing lines are, but because it's animated, I can see a little bit more of the hair structure. I don't normally do full perspective pieces like this. This is a bit of a challenge for myself, which is something that is generally just good practice, especially in a space like Art Fight. My goal with these streams is just kind of talking about my process and helping me focus a little more on what I'm doing so I can catch when I make a mistake. For example, here I kind of had this hand go out and curve up funny, so I just fixed that. The finger length was off. And then here I'm making room for knuckle and finger bends. And I'm trying to change the perspective by spinning it around a lot. I really want to avoid that line being redundant. This should absolutely be curved though. Okay, I think if I draw the thumb in, then maybe the shape will make a little bit more sense in my head. So I really need to thin out this thumb, not that thin. I think the delicate nails just kind of add a small little detail, though that is not the angle of which the nail would show here. The nail would be a little bit more behind the thumb, like that. There you go. Okay, so since this goes here, that bump would go there, which means that that would be the beginning of the finger. Again, I really want to avoid the redundant line shape. I will have to adjust this a little bit more later. I will return to that. I'm going to have 3 fingers for a minute. That's okay. I really like my hand so far. So, kind of fixing this forearm here. I feel like this whole shape in the hand should just be moved, like it's too close to the body. That way I can draw a little bit more of that sleeve here and focus on the actual like outtake. Lining up those lines, this creates a nice little fold here. And now that that sleeve is a little bit more defined, I know that the body continues out here. I just want that line to actually converge. So the hand now being moved over is kind of off the screen. Thinking of just moving her here to follow the thirds rule. And this way the hand's actually the focal point once again, which is my goal. I think once I finish up this liner, I'll probably do the rest on my own. Here we go. Now it looks like her arm's twisting out. So the last thing I'm going to do is just this last finger. This finger should be a little more thin. That feels like better positioning. I'm just going to tweak this up here. Okay, and then make this line a little bit smoother. And then just like that, this character's line art is almost done. So the last thing I'm going to do is just, again, kind of shade this darker area. Allow it to be more defined, separating the inner sleeve from the outer. Alright, and just like that, the character itself is drawn, and I will be able to, on my own, do a background. So that's kind of my thought process when I do characters. I hope you enjoyed this stream. Bye!